Hello and welcome to Only a Podcast. Two blokes upside down and many miles from home talk about popular culture and unpopular culture too. Books, music, films, the news, what we had for dinner last night, everything is fair game. We've no idea what we're doing or why, but we're going to do it.
Kia ora koutou. Hello everyone. Welcome to episode 10 of the multi-award wanting Only a Podcast. Say hello, Captain.
Hello, Captain. Yes, award wanting. That would be quite nice. Or even a few reviews. Come on, folks. Click that button. Click the 5-star button or whatever it is.
Yeah, because we haven't had many.
We can't checked earlier.
We've had 3 in Apple. And 3 of those were me. No.
Yeah.
One of those was me, but we've had 3-star ratings, not 3-star rating, but 3 people have star rated us in Apple, and I don't know about Spotify, you can't see, but please keep clicking those stars if you like us.
Yeah.
So no particular theme this episode, just going to talk about a few bits and bobs.
Yeah, just going to ramble on.
Yeah, but not too long, because we think maybe our episodes are a bit long. For podcasts shouldn't really be as long as the ones we've been doing, I don't think, unless they're real special ones. So we'll try and keep it a bit shorter today. So without further ado, do you want to kick off, Captain?
Yeah, no, I was listening to music during the week, as you do, every day, and I thought, having seen these, I don't know if you've seen these videos on YouTube where they get teenagers or millennials to listen to stuff from to
for the first time.
I generally can't stand them, but you get sort of a black hip hop kid to listen to Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin before, and it's like, whoa, dude, or whatever. And I don't generally watch that, but it did make me think: if you had a superpower. I know everybody discusses these. So what superpower would you have? I'd like to fly. I'd like to go back in time. I'd like to genuinely listen to things through other people's ears.
Oh.
To be that person. I just want to know what it feels like. I mean, you could see on the video, on the YouTube things, what their reaction is, but how must it be for someone? Because I know how it was for me. For example, to put the first Clash album on and hear the opening chords of Janie Jones and go, oh my God, or otherwise. And maybe some desperate need to get that feeling for myself again, as that I thought about this. How would it be to be inside someone's ears, as it were?
Yeah, because for old buggers like us, I mean, there isn't really anything new, is there, really, music-wise? Not really. It's not like, being there in 67, putting on Sgt. Pepper for the first time, or Pet Sounds, or one of those things, and it was new. I don't think we have anything really new anymore, do we? I guess you could possibly... All sounds like something else.
Yeah. I mean, you could possibly say some of the more adventurous hip-hop these days gets as close as you possibly could to new music, I guess. There's probably some underground stuff there that we haven't really listened to. But would he get the same reaction? Would I be thinking immediately if I heard some strange and bizarre dance music, oh yeah, that sounds like a bit of a twisted version of what was going on in the Hacienda in the 1990s? I probably would, to be honest. Try and refer back to something a touchstone from the past.
Yeah, superpowers. I'd like to be able to go back, time travel, and go back and experience things, as they're new. Well, would they be new though if I was a time traveller? Interesting. No, they wouldn't, would they?
No, I guess not.
Because if I went back to 67 and got Sgt. Pepper, I'd already know it, wouldn't I? So that wouldn't really work. Right, scrap it. I don't want. You can keep your superpowers. I don't want them. Stuff that. Stuff them. Yeah. Right. No, interesting. Yeah, I see those things come up in YouTube. I don't think I've ever watched one. Yeah, like 19-year-old listens to the Beach Boys for the first time or something. The little clip, the little frame looks like they're blown away by it, but I don't know. Never watched one. And who are they? And who's getting them to do this?
Yeah,
so many questions. Speaking of new music, I don't really pretend to know much about new music. I'm a bit tired of the whole thing. I don't really seek out new music anymore. really. I see recommendations come up on Pitchfork and things like that, and I'll give it a listen, but it doesn't do much for me. And maybe this isn't new music. Maybe I'm just really out of touch and many, many miles away from the epicenter of it. But I encountered a young female singer-songwriter called Lola Young. Mean anything to you?
No, sir.
Right. Well, I saw her on the Graham Norton show, so she must be fairly successful. I think she's been nominated for a Brit Award, Rising Star kind of things. And she's, I don't know, 23 or something. I haven't looked up her age. She's young. Maybe younger than that. She might even be 18. I don't know. But yeah, really... really good stuff. She did this song called I'm Sorry. Real kind of soulful voice. Lola Young, check her out. The wife's quite enamoured by her as well. Okay. And it got me thinking about, I remember watching the Brit Awards back in, I don't know, mate, I'll say the 90s. And the category female solo artist was so weak. I mean, this would be 1994 or something, and it'd be Alison Moyet, Kate Bush. Kate Bush would always be nominated. Hadn't released a record in 15 years. There was no one. There were no female solo artists. Then all of a sudden...
When you say weak, let's hasten to add here that the actual entrants themselves weren't weak. It was just the same old list.
What I mean, you said there was
again and again.
Yeah, no one knew. No one. There was no new. Then you got PJ Harvey and people like that coming along. But and then suddenly that became the strongest category. Mm-hmm. The likes of Lily Allen and Kate Nash and, of course, Amy Winehouse and a big, long string. And it keeps going to this day of these really talented, ballsy, gutsy, young female singer-songwriters. And it's, you see them around the world. There's a couple that spring to mind over here as well, of course, Lord and Benny. Yep. Who have had international success. But I think it's great. I don't know why it's happened. Is it just a coincidence or what? Or is it just they've now got the tools they need? Because, they're all making music in their bedrooms now, aren't they? And they don't need to fight their way through it to get some studio space or to get the attention of an A&R man, Yeah,
but that would be my thoughts. In the case of Lord, she did have assistance from Joel Little, but it's essentially the same thing. You can have a studio in your house.
Have one in your phone.
On your phone, indeed. On your phone and a microphone, good Lord.
Yep.
We come to teenagers in a future episode, but I think that's the democratization or whatever of it is possible reason. Yeah, because they don't have to look like Britney Spears anymore either. They can. It doesn't really matter how they look anymore. The talent's really shining through because they're putting their own music out. And Lily Allen really started that, I think, with MySpace, wasn't it? I think it was MySpace where she first. The second coming of MySpace. That's what did it for her. But anyway, so she just caught my eye really. Lola Young, check her out. I've got another philosophical thought as well.
Oh, steady on.
Oh no, steady on. My brain is just overloading these days. I was just thinking the other day how I changed my stance on this, because when you have kids, you kind of think, right, they're going to listen to some good stuff, I'm going to play, I'm going to make sure they know about the Ramones, and Bob Marley, and start from there, Hang on
a minute though. They've all got Ramones and Bob Marley T-shirts, so they must know about the Ramones.
Yeah, right? They must know who they are.
Carry on.
But, you get your own personal favourites. Think, right, I'm going to play these things in the car. And then my child will have a good musical education.
It will change their life,
It will change their life, or they will listen to all this stuff. And it did not make one ha'porth of difference. There were some things. Obviously, you put your Bob Marley Legend CD on, as everybody has one of those in the car, and Buffalo Soldier is the obvious one that your young child will listen to again and again and again because it's got the yo 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 chorus in it, so they can learn that bit. And I completely twisted on this when I saw some of the obsession of feeding children, parents, music, as it were. And I don't think you should. Just let them get on with it. And if it torments you and if you think it's crap, well, that's just the way it should be. I mean, parents have been tormented by their children's music for years and years. And why should we want to change that? They've got their own thoughts and ideas, and they've got their own stuff they like.
It's because theirs is crap.
They should have it. Well, they should be able to get on with that. And I really, compared to a kid who doesn't discover his own things.
Yeah.
No, that's not right.
I've got probably a longer view on this than you have, because I've got a daughter who's in her late 20s.
Yeah.
And when she was a teenager, sort of 14, 15, her music taste was dreadful. I mean, it was crap, really crap music. But obviously I couldn't say anything, but she got through it. And she's okay now. So it's going to be okay. Don't worry. It's going to be okay.
Or is it you? Have you changed?
No.
Okay.
Well, who knows? But you can't force it on them. Which has just reminded me. I noticed, because the girls are really into Marvel and stuff like that at the moment. The Marvel films. Mm. And I noticed, just channel surfing the other day, over here on TVNZ, they're showing a repeat of Heroes. I don't know if you ever watched this at the time. It was quite a long time ago now, probably could even be 20 years ago. It was a long time ago, 2006, something like that. Mm. And it was one of these, at that time, where these sort of epic TV series were starting, like Lost and 24 and all those things. Yeah. One of them was Heroes. And it was about all these just regular people that discovered they had superpowers. Mm. They were just normal people, and they ended up kind of coming together to fight a bad guy who also had superpowers. And I thought the kids are going to love this. It was brilliant. I absolutely loved it at the time. Couldn't stand it. Hated it. And it had everything you could want in, as a teenager. It's got everything you could want. It was, I loved it at the time, but no, not interested. So they only got through one episode of that.
Wow.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a strange thing, because, well, there you go. Stranger Things and series like that are kind of about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think it's all about how trendy something is. If it's old, it's not interesting when they're at a certain age.
Okay,
yeah.
I'd celebrate that. I'd celebrate casting out of ancient things, as long as there's something to discover. They will discover things, especially these days, in the days of licensed music for soundtrackery. You'll be drifting along watching something, and there'll be a snippet of, I don't know, there'll be this charming man will be playing in the background or something like that.
Funny you say that.
The kids will latch on to something.
I caught the girls singing. And they're age 14 and 11, and I caught them singing "Small Town Boy" Bronski beat. Right. Yeah, I won't sing it for you, customers. Don't worry.
Don't.
I won't. I'm like, what? Where's that come from? Well, it's this Xbox thing, just dancing thing they do on. It's got some old stuff. They probably think it's new. They have no idea. But when I join in and start singing along, I'm like, how do you know this? How do you know this song?
But how do you know this?
Yeah. So
is the reply. Yeah.
So if they don't know it's old, they might like it. I think, this song's good. Small Town Boy, I like this.
I remember a couple of years ago, I was in the car, and on from the back seat came "Army Dreamers" by Kate Bush. It's like,
right.
What? How? Why? And I can't remember the answer, but it was in some popular culture.
At
the time.
So
it does work.
Yeah.
It does work.
Cool. Are you done with philosophizing now? Because I'm going to need to lie down if you...
I'm done with that bit, yeah.
Cool. I thought the other day, I was working at home, want some music on in the background. I thought I'll have a little blast from the past, go back to my, to happy days. And I thought I'll put on Definitely Maybe. Oasis, of course. Haven't played that in many a year. And, of course, the songs are all great and the performances are all great, but the production's dreadful. And so I dug, it's just all guitars, distortion pedal, put that distortion into another distortion pedal just to be on the safe side, and turn it up loud and put 20 of them on there. Yeah. It's just this noise like a sale in a guitar shop, just all this noise. Horrible. So I'd love to hear that album remastered or re-recorded or something, because they're all obviously great songs and what have you, but... I doubt they're going to re-record it, but I'd love to hear a kind of Definitely Maybe naked if you like.
I mean, maybe it was maybe it was unclean-upable. Maybe it would be, since they've turned they've turned all the faders up to red.
Yeah,
and it's bashing the end stops. Then you're not going to recover that stuff, are you?
No, that's right. And it depends how it was recorded. I mean, if it was done on the cheap, it might have all been bounced down to just 8 tracks or something. So I don't know how they did it, but
I'm fairly sure that they, from the odd interview that I've seen on anniversary editions and things like that they, I mean, they had a few goes at doing it, didn't they? I think. Certainly, if not that, the subsequent album, and it was always that, does it sound like we want it to sound?
Yeah.
Rather than, does it work on a radio? Does it work on a CD? Does it work on this? It's like, no, if it's blasting out the speakers and we like it, then it'll do. And I think they went through a few hoops to get it to do that.
I think they did all right with radio play, to be fair. But,
no.
But it's very much of its time, because later that same day I was reminded of the album International Velvet by Catatonia.
Yeah.
Which I hadn't listened to in a long time either. And again, what a great record. But there's a lot of heavy guitars on there that probably don't do anything for the songs. But I don't know, cause I think I put this question out on Twitter about other records or songs or albums that have kind of not stood the test of time in terms of their production values, so they might be great songs. And again, this led me back to the 80s and listening to things like I was listening to things like Heaven 17 and stuff like that, and it was really good, but you forget it was really good, and they were really good musicians and songwriters and performers, because it was all synths, and we were all sort of kind of blown away by the novelty of it and the sounds of it. You forget about the songs and the music. But yeah, I think actually they don't sound so bad nowadays, that early synth pop stuff.
Well, I'm a huge fan of Dare Human League, and there are songs in there that are proper songs. Pop songs. And it was synthesizers. And they'd got the Human League in to advise them. But there were tunes, and they were there, honest. The things that I find more disappointing, noise-wise, and I should go back and listen to see if any of them have been remastered, were the early digital things. I think I can't remember whether it's Genesis, is it Abacab or is it Duke, or one of those was roundly lambasted at the time for being strange and digital, too sharp, and I remember buying Bop Till You Drop Raikuda, which I think was one of the first digital recordings in a studio, even if what was pressed might not have been. And whilst it had a certain sound, it was different to his previous albums and didn't really sound like much. It just wasn't. It just didn't work for me.
No,
it was a terrific album, and if we sat down today and recorded it, it would be bloody amazing because of all the technology is available. Now, I'm not suggesting that technology is the answer, but I'm sure
the technology is a lot more. It's not more subtle now, a lot more usable, isn't it? It's just all these massive reverbs and things back in the day, wasn't it? And
a Bop Till You Drop revisited with the way he records these days, I think would be something amazing.
Yeah. Good stuff. Anything on telly? You watched any telly lately?
TV. What have we been looking at? Oh, I don't know, really. There you go. I think it's because all the news is COVID and protesters and war and all that kind of stuff. I haven't really been settling down to anything substantial. It's generally a load of old fluff. But the one thing that we have been enjoying, and we haven't quite finished yet, but we whisked through the first series of Starstruck with Rose Matafeo in London.
That one,
falling in love with a very famous person that she doesn't realise at the beginning that he is famous. And series 2 is out, and we're a couple of episodes into that so far. And I have to say she makes great TV. There's a couple of New Zealand comedians / actors, Alice Snedden and Nick Sampson, I think, who basically went to England, and they co-write, I think, the Starstruck series, and it's pretty sharp. I'm waiting for resolution, but I'm also slightly waiting for something different to happen.
Okay,
it goes up and down in their relationship. But it's been going up and down for a series and a half now. So what's going to happen?
Someone needs to die. Yeah.
Right. Maybe nothing quite that drastic, but...
No. Okay. Yeah, that's been on my radar. I need to check that one out.
It's really good. There are only so many times that someone can break up with someone and then get back together with them. I want something different to happen.
For me, TV-wise, big week for me. Two of my absolute all-time favourites have come back for a new series. That's Killing Eve and Peaky Blinders. Killing Eve is out. I don't know if it's already been out in the UK or whatever, but it's only just come over here on legitimate TV. I haven't watched it yet, so no comment at this point. We've only had the first episode. I think Peaky Blinders, the new season, just started in the UK. It's not here yet, but I'll have to find a way to watch it in the UK. Did you ever watch Peaky Blinders, Captain? Was that
neither of which I've managed to catch up with? No.
You really must. So much, so little time.
Catching up. Yeah, and I just like catching up with The Sopranos, which I have still to do.
I'm still waiting for the end of season 1 of Coronation Street. It feels like it's been going on forever. So that's TV. All right, mindful of time here. So I'm going to a quick RIP, a couple of RIPs here. So we lost we lost a lot of people, but we lost a couple. Gary Brooker being one, the vocalist from Procol Harum. I don't know a lot about Procol Harum other than the obvious, and a couple of others like was it Salty Dog or something? And what's the other one? Anyway, a couple of Procol Harum songs I know. A great vocalist, widely regarded across the board.
And helped to change the course of pop music, basically, with the White Shade of Pale. Allegedly, but it's apparently Beatles klaxon. There's, McCartney was in a club in London. The DJ put a White Shade of Pale on, and McCartney rushed over to say, "Who's this? What's going on? Who is it?" So I know you could take that with a pinch of salt or whatever if you want, but adapting one of Bach's best bass lines.
Of course,
in the charts.
The Beatles were good at that, weren't they? Just checking out what's going on. I think they were quite competitive and always keeping ahead of the game. And they were runaway league leaders for quite a few years. Then around 67, 68, they started getting a bit of competition, didn't they? And they were very much switched on to what others were doing and trying to do it a bit better than they were, which is what kept them original, I guess. Also, sadly, we lost Anna Karan, the actress who you will know as most famously as Olive from On the Buses. She had a part in EastEnders later on. She died in a house fire, I think. Yeah, which is a bit sad. A couple of RIPs. There was another one which I won't go into too much, but a footballer, Joey Beecham. I don't know if you saw this, Captain. But,
no, I didn't see that.
There was you may not have even heard of him. The reason I know him, and every West Ham fan will know the name Joey Beecham. Back in 1994, West Ham signed Joey Beecham from Oxford United for a club record at the time, 1.5 million or something like that. And he was the rising star, really good player, young kid. And he never played a game for West Ham. He was homesick. Just couldn't bear being away from home in Oxford.
It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah, and so he got sold. He ended up going to Swindon. Then he went back to Oxford, where he became a legend. So that was home for him. But he passed away this week at the age of 50, which is very young. And I'm not sure the cause of death, actually, so I won't speculate. Every West Ham fan will know the name Joey Beecham.
Yeah.
That's everything off my list, except I've got a little curiosity, a little fact, or I don't even know if it's a fact, a little something. It's about Wikipedia, right? So I don't know if you've ever heard this before, all right? But if you go to Wikipedia, go to any page, anything on Wikipedia, or hit random article, doesn't matter. And on a Wikipedia page, you have all the blue links that link off to another page. If you click on the first link of the article, that will take you to another page, and then click on the first link of that article, that will take you to another page, and keep going. If you see the same one, don't click on that because you'll go in a loop. Move on to a different one. It could be any link on the page, I think. It doesn't really matter, but click on it and keep going. And eventually, every page leads you back to the page on philosophy.
Oh.
And I've tried this about 30 times. It hasn't failed. I always end up on the page philosophy.
Oh.
How about that? I don't know if that's by design or if that's just, that's pretty heavy, man.
Design?
Now, I'm getting philosophical now. Maybe everything's about philosophy. Everything. Yeah. Something to think about, eh?
What? Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've got one more thing that isn't about philosophy. It's a tiny bit of personal experience and a local sort of cult. Not a religious cult or anything like that.
A local what?
A cult.
Cult.
A trend. More a trend. A trend amongst the youth.
Oh, yeah.
Of Auckland. Maybe in other places too. I haven't seen this. Are you familiar with siren battles?
You sent me the link to it. I watched a bit of it. Didn't watch it all.
I'd like to appraise our listeners of siren battles because a couple of people we know live in one of the areas where it all kicks off. And it's their choice of... Anyway, well, we'll get to that in a minute. But basically a siren battle. What happens? The urban youth of Auckland will steal or buy or however they get them, public address speakers, bullhorns, you might call them, megaphones, that kind of shell-like fiberglass or whatever outdoor speaker, at the top of poles on racecourses for addressing the crowd.
Tannoy systems.
Tannoy speakers, those kind of stuff. They will get them and they will steal as many as they possibly can. And they will put them onto racks and attach them to their cars, which have amplifiers built into the boot and that kind of stuff. So this is not really in-car entertainment. It's X-car entertainment, extra car entertainment, or whatever you want to call it. And I will put some links up to this, folks, because you will not believe it. Well, I don't think you will. And they have basically battles. So they'll turn up at a car park late of an evening, of course, and turn these things up to full and be judged on hi-fi quality, sound, overall volume, and the kind of music they play. And the stunning thing, just as we were talking about music taste of millennials earlier on, is that one of their favourite things is the Celine Dion tune from Titanic, My Heart Must Go On. So there's had some of our friends have been subjected to this. It's about 1:30 in the morning, and then all of a sudden, a giant volume penetrating their house is Celine Dion. It's just a staggering thing. I don't think it's. I think it's fine that they should go and do this. That's all right as long as you're not disturbing anybody else, which they obviously are. But to pick that particular tune is just odd. You would expect some kind of modern hip-hop thing, or I don't know. What would you expect? Something not Celine Dion, anyway. But that's a thing.
Wow.
And it's now got to the stage where it's an established cultural thing going on, and it's got down to the council to find some space in the middle of nowhere for this stuff to happen, so that duckheads can carry on doing it, hopefully without stealing the PA speakers from important places. I wonder whether any of this happens anywhere else in the world. I'm really not sure that it does.
No, it's a new one on me.
But, anywho, folks, I will, on our webpage, I will put a link to this. I will send you a little sort of, I think it's about 12-minute documentary video on all this stuff going on. And I find the other thing which I've just remembered is it isn't just cars. They will attach these things with a battery to their push bikes, pedaling around the neighbourhood, blasting this stuff out. It's It's great.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I watched the first couple of minutes of it. The link you sent me, I need to finish it off. Yeah. Oh, great stuff. Good. Right, I reckon we're done.
That's cool, eh? That's about the size of it.
That's about the size of it. Apart from, I had a letter from the Inland Revenue. Did I tell you?
Oh, no, terrible.
Oh, yeah. No, they said my tax return was outstanding, which is weird because I don't remember even sending a tax return. Right.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's time to go, isn't it?
Yep.
Right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Get in touch at Only a Podcast on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. You can find us. And hello@onlyapodcast.com if you want to email us. That's it, I think. Are we done?
Yep. Here we are.
Cool. Say goodbye, Captain.
Goodbye, Captain.
Okay. See you later, folks. Bye now.
See ya. Bye.
You've been listening to Only a Podcast. If you would like to get in touch and share your feedback and ideas, we'd love to hear from you. Go to onlyapodcast.com or you can find us at Only a Podcast on Twitter and Instagram or via our Facebook page. Remember, it's only a podcast.